president of the auxiliary for the state of Michigan. And the conductress from the state of Michigan. Della. Our District 8 president, Joan. Nate, don't go too far. That's okay.
Oh, I was going to leave.
No.
I'm out of here. Public speaking.
And then Vern Blaukamp, he's our bar manager for our local VFW coast. And hey, all of you, thank you. So we'll start out with Nate. Thank you, Nate.
All right, good evening. I brought a couple people here myself that I'll introduce right now. Off to my left and your right is John Dry. He's a member with 22 Kill, just like myself. And on to my center, directly in front of me, is Seth Demerly. They both traveled from the east side of the state to come and kind of see what it is I do. They're kind of new veterans advocates like myself, and here to talk to you today. So good evening. My name is Nate Koehn. I'm a veterans advocate with 22 Kill. Before we get started, I want to throw out some numbers to you. In 2014, there were roughly 318.9 million Americans living in the United States. Out of that number, roughly 10%, or 31.8 million American people are veterans. Now, if you take that number and you break it down even further, out of that 31.8 million, 10% of that, or 3.2 million, were female veterans. So I want to kind of switch gears with that in your mind right now. I want to switch gears a little bit. Anybody here have an idea how many combat deaths there were in Iraq and Afghanistan to date? Have a guess. Anybody, don't be shy. Raise your hand.
6,000.
I'm sorry?
Over 6,000?
Okay. Over 6,000? Do I hear 7,000? Okay. I'm going to throw these numbers out to you. Bear in mind, we just talked about veterans. In Iraq, from 2003 to 2015, there were 4,811 deaths of the American soldier. In Afghanistan, from 2001, because as you remember, we entered Afghanistan before we entered Iraq. From 2001 to 2015, there were only 3,493 U.S. soldiers that killed. Okay? So, keeping the total of those two numbers in mind, 8,304 U.S. soldiers' deaths to date. Now, the reason I say that is because when they came home, some of them had struggled with being able to integrate back into the civilian world, back into their families and things like that. So today, about every 65 minutes, and I think I see them floating around on your table, about every 65 minutes, a veteran falls victim to suicide. That averages out to be about 22 a day. So let that sink in a minute. In 2009 alone, there were more soldiers that committed suicide than there were deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan that year combined. Last year alone, it is thought that 1,892 veterans fell victim to suicide. If you take that number, that is roughly about 23% of combat deaths to date, just last year alone. Post-traumatic stress is defined as a mental condition that is triggered by a terrifying event by either experiencing or witnessing it. This can range anywhere from a car accident right down to war. Many people who experience these types of events have difficulty adjusting for a while, but that doesn't mean they actually have post-traumatic stress. Symptoms of post-traumatic stress may include flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, uncontrollable thoughts about the event, and only if those symptoms get worse or last months or years afterwards is one considered to actually have post-traumatic stress. And just so you know, that information was provided by the Mayo Clinic. Okay, and that's the straight definition from the Mayo Clinic. So you may have a few questions in your head right about now. The first one is, who's this guy standing in front of me? I already told you, my name's Nate Koehn. I'm actually a 12-year Army veteran. I did I deployed under 3 different campaigns, Operation Noble Eagle, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. In 2009, I was diagnosed with severe post-traumatic stress. I spent countless nights lying awake. I actually average probably about 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night right now, which is actually really good for me. I drank heavily back in 2009 when I had my last deployment. Ultimately led to my divorce. There were countless nights that my nightmares would keep me awake so bad that I'd actually, by the time I came out of it, I found myself having to put my gun down so I didn't become a statistic of the 22. All right, so now I just put another question into your head, and that's probably, what changed for you? Well, back in, recently is October, late November of last year, I was scrolling on Facebook. How many of you scroll on Facebook? Yeah, I should probably see everybody's hand right now, right? Okay. Well, at the time, I was still struggling with it, and there was really nothing else on Facebook I wanted to see. And I came across this page, 22 Kill. And I'm like, I don't have anything else to look at, so let's see what this is all about. So 22 Kill started out with the vision of Andrew Nguyen, a Marine Corps veteran. After his transition off active duty in 2006, Andy spent a majority of his time going through college, and in 2008 launched WSI Search, which was later rebranded to 03 Entrepreneur, which is a marketing and development firm which specializes in website and mobile apps and things like that. It was here that he recognized the direct link between military leadership and entrepreneurship. And in back up there. So he's recognizing all this, but he's also remembering the Marine Corps values, which are honor, courage, and commitment. So after realizing this direct link between military leadership and entrepreneurship, he actually launched in 2011 a business called Honor, Courage, Commitment. Honor, Courage, Commitment is basically, 22 Kill is an umbrella of that within that organization. So, Honor, Courage, Commitments focuses on 3 key components: education, mentoring, and community, which is what I continue to do this day, and the reason I'm standing in front of you now. It was at this point that 22 Kill was born, and he continued to grow and set itself apart from the other 45,000 veterans organizations that are out there to try to help veterans by taking 3 components: the mentoring, community, and the education. And then by doing such, we now become what's called post-traumatic growth. Okay. Post-traumatic growth, according to Wikipedia, is the positive psychological change experienced as a result of adversity and other challenges in order to rise to a higher level of functioning. I stand before you this evening as a survivor of the 22. I serve my community by educating people on the epidemic of the 22 and make every attempt to assist my fellow brothers and sisters in arms by educating them on the help that is out there. The VA system can only go so far and will more than likely medicate a veteran and leave them aside. That's all they need to, that's all the government requires of them to exist. What happens is a veteran's going to go in, see the VA. Actually, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to call and ask, tell them what's going on. And they'll either take him in right away or they'll make him wait. But the only thing that the government requires of the VA in order to exist and continue to receive funding from the federal government is to medicate them, and that's considered help. So 22 Kill, like myself, Seth here, John here, we pick up where the VA leaves off. On September 11th, the nation pulled together as a community and was there for each other in a time of crisis. But as the years drug on and America started growing weary of the war on terror, we somehow lost sight of what brought us together in the first place. By America growing weary, we lost sight of who was out there bringing the fight to the enemy on their soil rather than bringing it to ours. Sadly, America then left the American soldier in the dust, just like the feelings that brought us to war. Many soldiers returned home when the war first started to a hero's welcome. Thank you for your service, welcome home. But that time has slowly slipped away. Gone are the days where we would thank a veteran or welcome them home. And what I mean by that is just because a veteran has made it home, just because they came home doesn't mean they made it home. Now are the days where the government tosses them aside and they fall victim to post-traumatic stress awaiting treatment or help that is promised to them. With that being said, I want to share with you a couple stories. Corporal Tyler T.J. Maddox was born on September 5th, 1990 and attended Jenison High School. In 2008, when he was a senior, he joined the Army and left for boot camp after he graduated from high school. He was assigned to the 10th Mountain Division, 3rd Brigade, 287 Infantry, also known as the Outlaws. Upon returning home, he struggled with post-traumatic stress in the VA and attempting to get help. And sadly, are you okay? And sadly, on April 25th, 2015, Corporal Tyler T.J. Maddox lost his fight to post-traumatic stress. I'm sorry, I'm going to get choked up here a little. It's kind of a little personal to me, too. This story I received yesterday. This is Carrie Riley, I believe.
Brother and sister.
Louisiana?
Yep.
Okay. This is about my husband, Sergeant Sean Michael Riley. He was born in Massachusetts, May 8th, 1967. He joined the Army in 1988 and went into Ranger School, where he was awarded a trophy for the most motivated soldier. He was part of Panama Operation Just Cause, parachuting with the 75th Ranger Battalion. He was the proud recipient of combat jump wings for jumping into Panama with the 75th Rangers during Operation Just Cause. He was deployed in 2005 to Operation Iraqi Freedom, and in 2007 he was deployed to Operation Enduring Freedom with the 181st Engineer Company. He received the Purple Heart Medal for injuries he sustained in Iraq. He was also awarded 3 campaign stars, the U.S. Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, and National Defense Service Medal. He was an exemplary soldier and loved by many. He was a jokester, and the boys in his unit nicknamed him Ranger Smurf because he was only 5'5". He would do anything for anyone that needed help. He may have been short, but he had a heart bigger than anyone I know. He loved football. The Vikings were his favorite team. Sorry about all you Lion fan out there. Sean was an avid hunter and loved to hunt, fish, and camp. He loved being outdoors. His favorite place was in his tree stand in the woods. During hunting season, he could be found somewhere in the woods in his tree stand. He loved to collect pewter figurines, anywhere from dragons to warriors, what he liked to collect the most. Sean loved being a ranger, or as he called it, playing Army. He loved his job serving his country. He loved to laugh and to make people laugh as well. He had a way of making you laugh and smile, even on days you didn't think that was possible. He fought hard to stay here, but it just got too much for him to handle. And sadly, on October 16th, 2007, he lost his battle to PTSD and traumatic brain injury. And this is a picture, she sent over pictures of her and him together and things like that. I stand before you today asking for your help. A community that comes together cannot be divided. The time is now to bring our veterans home. What I mean by that is, like I said before, just because you come home doesn't mean you made it home. There are organizations out there to help, from 22 Kill to county veterans programs. And if we don't get the veterans the help they need, the epidemic of the 22 will continue to rise. We wear this ring. Everybody's got one here. We wear this ring to honor those who have served or currently serve, and to honor the 22 that came home but never made it home. So this evening, and anybody who wants to is more than welcome to join. I'm going to drop down and press out 22 push-ups in honor of Sergeant Sean Michael Riley and Corporal Tyler T.J. Maddox, and the other 20 veterans who have or will commit suicide today. So if there's anybody that would like to get down and join me, you're more than welcome to come on up and knock out 22 push-ups.
Can you get rated for how good they are?
No, we'll let it slide.
I'm almost 50, we can do this.
Johnny, you want to count it out for us?
I'll do the ladies' push-ups.
Yep. And those of you that don't want to come up and do them, if you want to touch some sky or whatever, do it with us, you're more than welcome
I mean,
to.
like real push-ups?
And I have yet to do this, so I'm doing this for my son who's deployed in Korea. Ready? Assume position,
Okay.
and 1, 2,
2,
3, 4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22.
Good job.
It is important to know. It is important to know that the passing of these 22 doesn't have to be in vain. Let's show our veterans the support they deserve and need by becoming veterans advocates ourselves. It is what has brought us here together today, obviously. If we can individually connect with one veteran, we can become part of the solution. If you'd like to and you want more information, see me afterwards. Anybody got anything for me? Thank you for your time. Until there are none.